It wasn't anything that started right away. It was, you know how it usually is in the beginning of most relationships. Everything is all cards and flowers. And I met his parents, you know, and there was really, you know, they were really nice. They were married. They were together for a long time. And there were no signs of abuse there. But what happened was, it just seems like once we got together, it was a whole different story. The abuse started, you know, first it was kind of, you know, it just went from a couple of smacks to, you know, then it got a lot more intense. It just pretty much started when I started to deny him of certain things. You know, I mean, I was doing as much as I could. I was the one working, paying all the bills, doing everything. You know, he wasn't doing anything but just living there in my space. So, you know, the minute that I said I wasn't going to do something, then that's when the first hit came. You know, then the minute I told him that he couldn't do something else, and then it just became something that happened every day. And I was so used to it. I'd come home from work, I'd be in the cab changing my shoes from my heels to my sneakers, because I knew the minute I walked in the apartment, it was going to be a fight. We got into an argument over my car, and he felt he wanted to bite my face for whatever reason. So he did that. I still went to work. You know, because even in the spite of all the beatings and in the midst of all the beatings, I knew I still had a job to do. I knew I still had responsibilities and obligations, although not having any children. I still had to take care of me, regardless. Well, you know, everybody knows when somebody's being abused. We're the abusee, as you would say. You know, we're always the ones that are making excuses for the abusers. We're always the ones that saying we ran into a pole, or, you know, a cat scratched me, or whatever the case was. You know, everybody that knew me, you know, on my job, because I had a coworker, we're still friends to this day, and she looked at it and she knew that something was wrong. You know, and she was able to talk to me about it. I mean, but we talked about it, you know, off, you know, not on the job. But everybody else kind of, you know, they went for the story, I guess, because they weren't experienced in it. But anyone that has gone through it, you know, they will definitely know. Because just like now, because the fact that I went through it, so now any female that I see that tries to hide it, I can see right through it, because I used to do the same thing. The final straw, and as crazy as this sounds, I mean, through all of the abuse, all of the hitting, all of the, you know, the fractured bones, the bites, you know, the scars, out of all of that, the one thing that made me leave was, we were sitting in my car one day, and he opened up a 2-liter soda, shook it up, and exploded the soda all in my car. And I got so mad. I was the one who initiated the fight, started the fight right in the middle of the street, and after that, I sped off. I was done. That was the one thing that made me mad. It wasn't the broken bones. It wasn't, you know, the swollen eyes or the bites. It wasn't any of that. And a lot of people ask me, why did I stay? And the only reason why I stayed, because I wasn't afraid of him. You know, I wasn't one of those, let's just say, quote unquote, helpless, you know, abusive women. I wasn't afraid to fight him. So every time I knew that I was going in that house, I knew what I was going in there for. So I prepared myself. Well, I wouldn't say that I cherished the car more than my body, but guess what? I guess that was my breaking point. I was done at that point. Or maybe it was just all of the years of all of the stuff that I'd gone through finally just escalated to that point right there. And plus I was on the block of my, you know, where my mother lived. You know, so maybe I felt that sense of security, that sense of safety, because I was like, listen, if I do this, my mother's house is right here. You know, I'm all right. I'm going to get through this. Because with every female, it's different. And there's also a lot of men out there who are experiencing it also. But to a lot of women that are, you know, all I can say to them is just, you know, there is a way out. You know what I mean? A lot of times you feel like, because this is happening to you and you're in your own space, you feel like you can't get out. You know, but I always knew that I could get out. At that particular time, I didn't want to, for whatever reason that was. From the last episode that we had, when I kicked him out of my car and we had a fight then and I sped off, from that point on, I left everything. I left my apartment behind. I left everything in it behind, and I just started over. Just started a whole new life, and sometimes you have to do that. You know, a lot of things that we lose, you feel like you want to go back for it, but you know what? I left it all. I left the apartment, and I left everything in it. And even all of the bad memories that was in there. So And I mean, and now I'm in total control now. So I know that this would never happen again. Well, my advice to any female, any young female, whether you're a teenager, whether you're a grown woman, you know, if you're going through any type of physical abuse, there is a way out. You know what I mean? It may seem like it isn't sometimes, but I mean, if you have to reach out to your, you know, to your closest friends, maybe someone that you can trust, or, you know, there are definitely hotlines that you can call for it. But, you know, aside from that, all of that stuff was available even for me. You know what I mean? But if there comes a time in your life where you decide, listen, I'm not going through this anymore. This is not what I'm going to tolerate. This is not what I'm going to take nor accept, you know, then you can just pick up and you can just move on. You have to know what you're worth. You know, a lot of us females, we don't know what our worth is. But the minute that we find out what it is, we need to take that and we need to move forward. You know, and not let anybody, you know, no man, no woman, nobody. You know, so I know, just like I said, I'm in control, and I know that it would never happen again.